Good evening, and welcome to Boring Real Estate for Sleep. I'm Dr. Khan, real estate professional at UCLA, Glendale Community College, and Los Angeles Harbor College. And tonight, I'll be reading to you from Chapter 2 of California Real Estate Practice, 10th edition by Walt Hubar.
All right, Chapter 2, Prospecting, Marketing, and Advertising for Buyers and Sellers. Prospecting for buyers and sellers. Communication is the name of the game. Advertising and promotion keeps your name in the public eye, but buyers and sellers want agents who communicate with them quickly via smartphones, email, and text messaging, social media sites as well. Finding sellers and getting listings, looking for an agent, obtaining new listings, the contractual right to help sell another's property are the lifeblood of the real estate offices. Listing and selling properties keeps you in business. The internet, your company and your own professional website. Your company and your own professional website are indispensable tools for finding sellers who want to sign a listing agreement, which is also known as a contract, for you to help with them sell their property. Your websites should contain as much useful information as possible, including, but not limited to, the following 5 items. One, properties you currently have for sale. Two, properties that have just sold. Three, the prices of both for sale and just sold homes, as well as for your biographical information. Number five, a professional photo, or also known as a headshot, of yourself and possibly your broker's office. Oh, let's get to page 32 because it looks like there's more than five. Actually, there aren't. That might be an editor issue. I don't have an inside voice, so we'll see how this goes. Page 32 is giving us chapter 2 outline, and we're going to skip it. Why? Because we're reading through chapter 2. Let's jump over to page 33. Number 6, an email list sign up on your website would be beneficial as well. Don't forget to prominently display your email, office phone number, and mobile text number so callers have as many options as possible to contact you. Most buyers and sellers start their search online. Search engines. Search engines like Google, Edge, Bing, and Yahoo are the first place sellers go to find a respectable real estate professional. Make sure your name or brokerage is high on the search results list. When users Google, quote unquote, Google certain keywords like real estate sales, especially in your area or your zip code. Page 34. Email. Email is a fast and efficient way to communicate with clients when you have a client who is interested in a neighborhood or particular home. There are several ways of getting clients' emails, which will be discussed later. Texting. Texting is generally more useful for notifying buyers when a property comes up for sale. However, when looking for sellers, you may consider texting them with a link to a screenshot of a comparable market analysis, which is called a CMA, that you've created for them, or to notify them of market changes in their neighborhood. As a courtesy, always check with your clients to make sure they are amendable to text messaging. Referrals. Referrals from past clients and your entire sphere of influence that you may contact monthly are rich sources for new clients. Be sure to get their email and text information so you can continue to contact them in the future. But of course, it needs to be with their permission. Online referral websites and apps like Yelp. Yelp is not just for restaurant reviews anymore. If sellers search online for a real estate agent in a particular area, or if you're using yet the Yelp app, the Yelp website will pop up and they can read basic contact information about you and your brokerage. But more importantly, they can read real recommendations or poor reviews written by past clients. Your professionalism and personality are being graded by often anonymously on Yelp or Yelp users, so they can be brutal if they are displeased. Just one more reason to keep your clients happy. Social networking sites. Social networking sites like Facebook and Instagram are sites where you may find prospects. Information is gleaned from many sources to pinpoint the appropriate audience to receive ads. You may place your company's ad so they only go out to Facebook and Instagram users in a general area. You can also create a polished and professional business profile that posts recent sales or other information that will encourage a potential seller to contact you. Note, always create a separate Facebook page for your business. Real estate search engines. Real estate search engines such as Realtor.com is owned by the National Association of Realtors, an organization that is trusted by many of a variety of reasons, including the fact, page 35, that the National Association of Realtors members adhere to a strict code of ethics. They have a reputation for being more accurate than other sites and have binding contract agreements. Realtor.com also offers a list of realtors by area, city, state, or zip code, making it easy for a potential seller to find the right agent or broker. Remember, all realtors are real estate agents, but not all real estate agents are realtors. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, the California Association of Realtors, and local boards. People new to the business often use realtor and real estate agent interchangeably, but they are not one in the same. The authors of this book are proud members of the National Association of Realtors. Zillow.com and Trulia.com. Zillow is another very popular real estate website. Sellers will visit the site that uses automated valuation systems to determine the potential price of a home. They often use the figures generated by Zillow to help determine a selling price for their own home, although those figures are created by computer averages and do not necessarily reflect comparable analysis or CMA numbers. As a professional, it's up to you to help your clients achieve a realistic expectation for the price of their home, as Zillow does not take into consideration the remodeled interior of a home, new granite countertops, or outside improvements such as a new cobblestone driveway or large old trees. It's up to you to incorporate these amenities into the price of the seller's home. Zillow also offers agent reviews that potential sellers may peruse while looking for a selling as well as a buying agent. Trulia.com, owned by Zillow, is an online residential real estate site for home buyers, sellers, renters, and real estate professionals. And on a side note, Trulia is actually better than Zillow. Hello. Sellers spend an average of 1 year contemplating the sale of their home. Your name should be the first one they think of when they finally decide to sell. Constantly promoting your brand will result in a healthy crop for your geographical farm. What about direct mail, traditional and also known as new school? Direct mail is a tried and true method of marketing to your geographical farm and your sphere of influence. It's easier and less expensive than ever with online printers like Vistaprint and the Adobe CC Suite of products to design your direct mail marketing materials. Take advantage of the U.S. Postal Service as well as your computer to send direct mail. Postcards. Postcards are very useful. They are a very useful way of getting your name out to the public. Without an envelope to open, the recipients can't help but read the contents when they take it out of their mailbox and throw it into the recycling bin. It doesn't say that. Without an envelope, the recipients cannot help but read the contents when they take it out of their mailbox. You can list homes for sale or just sold. You can ask for potential sellers to contact you. You can post a picture of yourself and or a list of comparable properties in the neighborhood. Page 36. Both postcards and flyers can be left on doorsteps or hung on doorknobs, also known as door hangers, saving the cost of postage and getting your 10,000 steps in. As an alternative to postcard advertising, a threefold mail out, hand addressed and stamped, not metered, has a greater chance of being opened than something that looks like junk mail or even bills. If you're comfortable using social media platforms, smartphone apps, you can take a picture of a home for sale and attach it through a postogram app, allowing you to send personalized postcards to potential clients. You can also send virtual postcards through email. CMA, comparative market analysis, is data that gives the seller a price range for the home by comparing the detail of similar homes, which are known as comps, in a particular area that have recently sold. Let potential clients know what the prices are for homes in their neighborhood. How do you get the CMAs to new clients? However, that is actually the problem. Direct mail ads, postcards, and emails are all methods of getting those comps into the potential future seller's hands. Even if a recipient is not yet ready to sell, your name may be the first to come to mind if they receive regular comp information from you and or your brokerage. Expired listings. Your local MLS, multiple listing service, has expired listings that let you know that someone was trying to sell their home but was unsuccessful. All the contact information is available on the multiple listing service for members, and it's up to you to convince the seller to try again and why you are capable of selling their home. Never badmouth another agent. Ultimately, it's bad for business and gives you an unsavory reputation. Also, referrals from other areas may be a source of listings for you, but not by a broker or agent about whom you have spoken badly. Now, there are things called FSBOs, which are for sale by owners. Simply hand delivering a transfer disclosure statement could illustrate to the seller the complexity of selling a home they may not be aware of and potentially gain you a new client. Why would you give somebody a TDS? Well, a transfer disclosure statement is required on all purchases of homes, whether an agent is present in that process or not. Craigslist. This is a funny part of page 36. Craigslist is an excellent source for finding FSBOs. I dare to say this needs to be an updated section of the book as well. After trying to sell their own property, owners may be delighted to hand over the responsibilities to work, responsibilities and work to a professional such as yourself. You can sell them on your expertise needed to fill out the numerous forms and the dangers of not filling them out properly, as well as take on the burden of showing the property to pre-approved clients. Page 37. Bulletin boards. Bulletin boards often post homes for sale by their owners. And a bulletin board might be something you'd see in a Starbucks. Just in case you're like, I don't know what a bulletin board is. I'm not in school anymore. Why would my elementary teacher have a bulletin board with listed homes, right? Gotcha. Don't forget the good old fashioned telephone call. Most of the FSBOs you will contact will be by phone. Make sure to ask for other contact information once you do reach them by phone and ask permission to keep in touch with them in the future. And then follow up on that, right? Do it. Once you contact them, remind them that you can also help them find a new home after you help them sell theirs. Yard signs. Posted signs in yards, in windows, or tacked up around the neighborhood are often used by for sale by owners or FSBOs. This is great for you as an agent, as they are provided you their contact information without being asked. Call them and offer them a comparative market analysis, also known as a CMA, or a transfer disclosure statement, also known as a TDS, as a gesture of goodwill and a hint at what they may not be aware of as non-professionals. Newspaper classified ads. Now, FSBOs frequently place their property for sale in a special classified section of the newspaper. They might also have it on Facebook Marketplace. When you contact them, ask for an email and text information so you can let them know immediately if you have an interested client. Add them to your geographical farm. Professional business contacts, sphere of influence, network, or niche. Title companies. Title company employees you may be acquainted with can tell you when a home drops out of escrow or if a home goes into foreclosure. They can also let you know how to contact out of state or absentee owners who can be a gold mine for new listing sources. They can also provide mail lists for any areas or neighborhoods that you may like to farm. Foreclosures are a touchy subject, but you may very well be doing a seller a favor by offering to represent them. They have little to lose, and you may help them save their credit rating. Probate attorneys. Probate attorneys deal with heirs to properties who often live out of state or have their own home and they don't want to deal with a home that they've just received as an inheritance. When it comes to selling property, you may want to be the first agent they turn to. Probate attorneys can keep you abreast of litigation whereby a property may be coming up for sale and may need a listing agent. Divorce attorneys. It sounds like a bad thing, but divorce attorneys, without breaking confidentiality agreements, may be doing their clients a service by referring them to you if a divorcing couple will need to sell their mutual home, which can also mean the possibility of needing to buy one or more. Page 38. One or more new residences. The fact that you don't actually know the clients may be to your advantage, as both parties will see you as an unbiased individual. The biggest complaint by sellers and buyers is a lack of communication. Don't fall into that trap. Maintain as frequent contact as your client allows by phone calls, emails, or texts, depending on their preference. Texting is the most requested form of communication between client and agent because it is so quick and it can deliver the information instantly. Open houses. Find both buyers and sellers. An open house is a planned period of time during which a property for sale is held open for public viewing. An open house is an excellent prospecting tool for finding both buyers and sellers. Signing them in on arrival is recommended. And in my classes, we talk about how you get people to sign the guest book when you come into an open house. Sometimes they don't sign it. Sometimes they just say that I'm Bobby and this is my husband Joe Smith. And so you note that Bobby and Joe Smith came in at 7:16 in the evening, or if you have a night showing, because some people do have a night showing if they have a beautiful view in the backyard or the front yard. Sometimes you have a day showing. You can also note it. They don't actually have to sign the guest book, and that's something we talk about in class. Finding buyers looking for a home. Sellers are looking for an agent, whereas buyers are looking for a home. Open houses are a great place for finding new buyers and sellers. Because open houses are excellent resources for obtaining both buyers and sellers, it seems appropriate to discuss it here as we transition into the suggestions for finding buyers. More techniques will be discussed in Chapter 5, Finding the Right Buyer. But many of the areas mentioned above for locating sellers cross over into locating buyers as well, so they bear repeating. And one thing I will say about this industry is in real estate, there is a lot of repetition, but with repetition, the right repetition, there is retention. So I want you to have the right step forward. I want you to have the right foundational information. So that when you walk into the broker you're going to work with, that there is no hesitation if you have something that you need to ask them. Now, at open houses, we've kind of talked about it a little bit prior to this, have open house and visitors fill out a wish list, or you can have a verbal conversation with people as they walk in. A lot of people don't want to fill things out, but this isn't a bad idea on page 38. So let me read it again. Have open house visitors fill out a wish list on your mobile, tablet, or laptop. Your local MLS site has a page where they can pick how many bedrooms they would like, how many bathrooms, swimming pool, carpet, or hardwood floors, school districts, and the like. It is extremely detailed, but you can fill out as little or as much as your potential client feels comfortable with. Most importantly, there is an option for auto alerts. We'll talk more about that in chapter 3. Be sure to ask if the client already has a broker, because there's no poaching, please. Again, speed's the name of the game. When a property that meets their criteria comes on the market, call or text your clients right away to let them know you're available to set up a showing at their earliest convenience. Page 39. Open house guidelines. The following steps will ensure a good response to the open house. Number 1, place an open house sign on the property a week in advance, informing neighbors of the date and times. Your MLS listings also allow for postings open house dates, which are then shared with other websites such as Trulia and Realtor.com. Now, the key to this is you might want to go door to door instead of just putting a sign out and letting them know that a block over you're going to have an open house, and you just want them to know that that might be why there might be in excess more vehicles trying to park in their neighborhood. Number 2, advertise the open house in the local newspaper and the MLS with easy driving instructions included. That might be a circa 1999 idea, and you might not need to give people that because we have Google and Waze, but I hear you. That might be something people are interested in. Number 3, contact, mail or email successful real estate agents and invite them to the open house. Number 4, invite at least 25 neighbors in person by telephone or with postcards. And that's where you do the whole knock on the door and say, hey, we're going to have an open house next weekend. We just want to let you know, come on over. We'd love to visit with you. Number 5, half an hour before the open house, visit the neighbors you have invited and remind them to come to the open house. Number 5 might be stepping on some toes, so just feel out your neighborhood and your community, okay? Number 6, place your open house signs in strategic locations to drive by traffic near your open house. Always ask permission of the property owners beforehand. Although you won't be placing your signs directly on their lawn, it's always a good policy to be courteous. An annoyed property owner can easily destroy or even remove your signs. Number 7, you will need a guest book to be signed by everyone entering the property, including a phone number, contact, and email contact. Again, if possible, convince your viewers to fill out an open house digital application so you both know what they are looking for. You can also have a QR code that prompts them. That's a sign on the table when they come in. A drawing of a lottery ticket encourages the visitors to accurately sign the guest book. Be sure your client is not already represented by a broker. Number 8, if the house is large, there should be 2 agents on the premises. Number 9, it's a good idea to have only one group of visitors at a time go through the property. But I've been on properties. Actually, my husband and I looked at a property and there was a good 40 to 60 people there. So again, a lot of what's in the book is clinical, but it's not, you can't transfer it to real life. Just take one step at a time with all of these things. You can place a sign on the door asking other visitors to wait for a few minutes while you finish showing a home. That's a little bit like putting the mashed potatoes and gravy on the table and telling everybody that you've got to wait till you get the turkey out. You know somebody's going to go get a dollop of it and not hear you. So again, talk to your broker about that. Number 10, hand each visitor a flyer stating the square footage, lot size, room descriptions, and other amenities. It should also state when it was built, the school district, and and of course the price. Now, you'll see these kind of things on the table at the homes. That all that information is public record, and chances are, if you're there looking at the property, you already know that information. But if if you're bringing the buyer and you already know that information, it's just a nice thing to remind them, hey, don't forget the flyer, because at the end of the day, when everybody gets out of their cars, the flyer may not have made it into the house and it made it onto the floor, and it gives you that second opportunity that you may not have gotten if you hadn't asked them to take the flyer out with them. Number 11, it is important to leave the seller's home in neat condition, which means removing extra flyers, disposable coffee cups, miscellaneous trash, etc. Write them a note about the house including information about how many people came through and thank them for preparing their home for showing. You should also send them an email with pertinent information. Number 12, naturally, all visitors should be contacted later, usually through email. But if your viewers are not computer literate, make sure you follow through with a written note and thank them for attending the open house. Get their feedback and offer your services to them. This is an excellent way of adding to your prospect database. Page 40. One smart, worthwhile effort for a successful open house is to make sure that the house is as welcoming as possible. For example, opening all windows and coverings and making sure it looks and smells good. Welcome all guests personally. A large home may require the presence of more than one agent. Emails and texts. Once you have the contact information of a potential buyer, don't overwhelm a client who is unfamiliar with mobile technology. Still offer them the support and contact by telephone if that makes them the most comfortable. As a young couple, on the other hand, they may resent constant phone calls, but appreciate a text with property details about a home to show them. So what are we saying? Make sure whatever client you have that you meet their expectations through whatever type of communication that works best for them. Once again, communication is key to a successful real estate career, particularly now as technology evolves so quickly. So keep abreast of the latest technology available for your use. And as always, be sensitive to the party with whom you are doing business. Internet search engines. You want your name to be as close to the top of the search results list as possible when a potential buyer searches for an agent online. Not specifically your name, but an agent in your zip code is what this is saying. This is called search engine optimization. You might know it as SEO. You'll notice that on Google, for example, the top few responses to an internet search have a slightly colored background or a small box labeled ad or paid advertisement, right? You can pay a premium to have your brokerage name cascade to a high spot on the search results list. Be sure to budget for this expense, though, and keep track of whether or not it is paying off for you in the long run. In other words, always ask where the client found the name of your brokerage. Your business website. For the same reasons your website, once found by a search engine, can bring in sellers, it can also bring in buyers. However, you have the opportunity to show actual listings you currently have for sale on your website. It's important, however, to have your website up to date. There is nothing more frustrating for a buyer than to find a house on your site that they love only to discover it's no longer available. They may feel that you've pulled a bait and switch, and they will lose their trust in you. Make sure you have an email preference, opt out, or unsubscribe button for your viewers to select in case they are concerned that your brokerage will begin to spam them if they're not committed to buying a house yet, or leave them receiving notifications long after they've bought a home and moved on. Page 41. Prospecting, marketing, and advertisement for buyers and sellers. If you don't know how or don't have the time, outsource a service to maintain your website. The content should be updated regularly so as to bring viewers back to the site to see what you've posted recently. Keep track of how many visitors to your site. This should be an analytic feature that comes with the site. Potential buyers will probably have visited websites like realtor.com or zillow.com before contacting you. Studies show that buyers interview an average of 3 agents in person before choosing one they hire. Number 4, postcards, glossary cardstock, or virtual online. Like open houses, postcards offer a dual opportunity to bring in both buyers and sellers. On one side of the postcard, you can list information about your brokerage, its reputation, and a photo of yourself and your company logo. On the other side, it lists current comps for homes in your neighborhood. You can display a home just currently sold to incorporate trust in both buyers and sellers that you are good at your job. Always include your website address Surveys have shown that sellers spend an average of about 1 year making the decision to sell, but buyers spend about 5 months making the decision to buy. If you've been sending out postcards monthly, your brokerage's name will have been in front of them for the entire 5 to 12 months. Familiarity often nurtures trust, and as they don't have to be opened like junk mail, they can help. Postcards can be delivered to a doorstep or online for sale by owners. We're going to be talking about this again, FISBOs. On the FISBO's house, so on a FISBO's house is sold, they will need another home. Sorry, I said on. Once a FISBO's house is sold, they will need another home. As discussed earlier, owners selling their own home may be relieved to employ a professional. The potential buyers who inquire about the home may not be right for that particular property, but they can be added to your contact database as people who are at least thinking about buying a new home. Also, the FISBO, once they have sold their house, will need another place to dwell. A little double dipping opportunity for you as a broker to make another sale, or at the very least, get a portion of the commission for recommending the seller turned buyer to another broker, particularly if it is not in your area. Craigslist. Craigslist is a good mining source for FISBOs as well as renters looking for a place to live. Why not contact renters and convince them to buy? This might be a better option. You can also offer to help them get pre-approved for a loan, a task by which they may be intimidated by. But when they see how well you manage the situation, they may decide you are the agent for them. Newspaper ads, old school. Newspaper ads, as mentioned in the selling section, are often placed by FISBOs, making those people easy for you to contact. Bulletin boards, we talked about that before as well, right? Bulletin boards are also a place where a FISBO might place their contact information. And I also said Facebook Marketplace. Number 6, referrals, getting recommendations. Past clients. If you're doing your job well, you should be able to ask your current and past clients for recommendations. Positive feedback. How to get a referral will be covered next to in the next chapter. So let satisfied customers know you appreciate them letting their friends and family know of the terrific job you did for them, either in helping them buy or sell a home. It's the freest form of advertising and often the most trusted. Don't be a secret agent. Hand out cards and let everyone know how proud you are to be a real estate professional. Professional business contacts, geographical forms. As with sellers, title companies, probate attorneys, and divorce attorneys are all legitimate sources to find potential buyers. As unfortunate as it is, when a couple divorces, one or both of the parties will have to find a new place to live. It could mean the sale of 1, 2, or even 3 homes. With delicacy, you can make the approach not distasteful, but a welcome relief from one of the many worries and tasks in front of the separating couple. Make sure all parties feel they are properly represented so no one feels neglected. The art of developing referrals. To build clientele and achieve a high referral business, your buyers and sellers must be kept fully informed every step of the way. Goodwill is earned by making it known that you always have the client's best interest in mind. But good intentions are not enough. You must be a doer. Explain to the client that you are doing each step. Sorry, let me say that sentence again. It's really important. Explain to the client what you are doing every step of the way. Let them know that you order the termite report and the credit report when you check out the preliminary title report, when you submit the loan application, when you order the appraisal report, check out the documentation, get all the necessary final papers signed by all the parties, and so on. Call clients or leave emails, text messages at every step of the process. Stay one step ahead of the sales process by contacting your escrow officer to find out what clients should expect next. It works both ways. The escrow officer appreciates your attention, and your clients are going to be impressed by the fact that you're always on top of the situation. Page 43. You should also demonstrate interests beyond the close of escrow. You can do this by sending out monthly newsletters. You can help both buyers and sellers in their move by providing helpful information about such items as utility arrangements, address notifications to publishers, and so on. Helping buyers and sellers make the move process less stressful will ensure their gratitude and lead to repeat business and referrals. One way to do this is by providing them with the helpful information like a moving checklist covering many of the details often overlooked in the chaos of moving. Then one of the things that I do is once a client is either buying a home or selling their home, I just ask them to move, and I pay for a cleaning company to come in and clean the house from top to bottom. So whether my client's moving into that home, and a deep clean, whether my client's moving into that home or whether my client's moving out of that home, the person that is doing the moving is not stressed about having to clean as well. If your clients are moving into another area, look up competent agents in the Certified Residential Specialist Directory, which is CRS, and refer them to your moving clients with any questions that they may have concerning their new neighborhood. Establishing this new relationship may add to the broker's referral database and encourage them to reciprocate by referring clients to you. Referrals often lead to a percentage, as much as 30 to 35% of the referral going to the agent's commission. And I'm going to tell you this, as an agent for 20 years, I've only accepted one referral, but all the other ones I did not accept. And with this particular agent, they wouldn't let me say no. Remember, if you are asking for criticism, you're asking a client to find something wrong. Instead, consider asking what services they most appreciated. The more positive their response, the more open they will be to putting their comments in a written referral. Advertising and promotion. Advertising of any licensed service may not be done under the name of the salesperson unless the name of that is actually the employing broker. In spite of the importance and cost involved in advertising, many offices fail to give advertising the time and attention it deserves. The ads get routinely repeated, the job gets done mechanically, and the results may not be a good return on investment. Advertisements are often written and placed according to how their offices do it, instead of according to the sound advice principles will be motivated by it. Let me read that again, because that is actually a very long sentence. Advertisements are often written and placed according to how their offices do it, instead of according to sound advertising principles that will motivate the reader to react to a property. Reach for the telephone and contact you. The main purpose for the ad is literally for them to contact you, right? If the advertisement does not reach the targeted audience or fails to convince prospects to respond, then your time and advertisement dollars are completely wasted. Remember, an advertisement is both a listing tool and a selling tool. Sellers watch the internet, newspapers or online newspapers, yard sales, and trade magazines that will influence for the good or either the bad by an office's advertisement method. The best results are achieved when one creative and responsible person is put in charge of the advertising program. Agents, office managers, or trusted assistants and other people in the office should give feedback and suggestion, but one person should be in charge. They should be responsible for tracking the cost, controlling the volume, scheduling the advertisement for the most effective exposure, compiling and interpreting sales data, evaluating the effectiveness of the advertising, and creating the visual content and the ad copy specific to the medium, and maintaining an advertising calendar. Putting one person in charge eliminates confusion and waste that can result from several people moving in conflicting directions. Page 44. As soon as my computer decides that I can go to page 44. Effective salespeople, the high earnings, will often place additional ads in publications above and beyond the ads placed by the firm. These very successful agents will often create their own websites that can be completely independent from their broker. Terms and conditions need to be worked out with the broker. However, the broker has to say yay or nay on that, is what the book is saying. It is critically important to keep track of the effectiveness and cost of all advertisement. If the ad works, then it can be repeated. If it doesn't, then it needs to be improved. To determine this, use a traffic sheet or an ad call logbook. A traffic sheet or an ad call logbook is an informative analytical tool that logs in daily calls that specifically give you a daily and historical review of how effective your brokerage is advertising and includes important calling data. The broker and all salespeople should be reading this traffic sheet daily because it details what properties are hot, whom they called, and for what property, and most importantly, all the ways to contact the prospects so they can be put in a mailing list. The traffic sheet can be digitized and sent out to all brokers and agents at the end of the day. There are also various free advertisement opportunities available to companies that regularly advertise in one medium. If you are overseeing the advertisement, you should be on the lookout for good public relations or PR opportunities. Public relations is taking advantage of free press coverage to promote your firm, especially when someone in your organization has made some admirable social contributions that benefit the community, such as organizing or attending a philanthrop. I can't say that word. Yeah, I can. I'm sorry, a philanthropic event. These articles are best written and more credible from a third person point of view. So, what am I saying? You want PR relations for your company, but you want them to be done by Channel 6 News or a local journalist at the local newspaper. Are you paying for it? Yes. Are you asking them to come out? Yes. But it's presented as though they're the ones doing it. They are that third person point of view. So remember, writing good advertisements take time. Be sure to set aside sufficient time for the actual tasks of designing an ad, reviewing it, and revising it. Whenever an advertisement is the first point of contact with a possible client, you must include your California Department of Real Estate license number on a business card, stationery, and website. As the listing agent, you should send an email and email a copy to the seller and other clients. Do not be a secret agent. It pays to toot your own horn, and it actually keeps you within the letter of the law. Real estate advertising. When advertising, it's important to point out the benefit of home ownership, such as using very little of your own money. The negative, however, is the lack of liquidity, meaning it's difficult to turn the investment into cash quickly. Page 45. Product advertisement gives the reader information about the benefits and specific features of a property. The advantages of owning property are always an effective selling point in an ad. The advantages of owning your own home, the American dream, your nest. There are many advantages to owning real estate, some of which are listed below and should be brought to the ad reader's attention. Any one or more of the following may be the sizzle that sells the streak when advertising property. Inflation protection is number one. Number two, small initial investment. Number three, provides necessity of life, shelter, pride of ownership. Number four, high return on investment. Number five, loan security. Number six, establishing stability. Number seven, security. Number eight, forced savings. Number nine, enduring resources. Number 10, tax advantages. And number 11, you can lease out your property for monthly income. Advertising media. Three current types of advertising media. So let's talk about them. Advertising is more effective for selling a company's image than for selling just one individual property listing. Knowing what and how to trigger a positive reaction from the reader is important, but now you need to select the best media for the advertisement. Generally speaking, the size of the company determines the scope and the variety of media to use. Each type of media must be expected to pay for its own results. So let me read that again because that doesn't sound right. Each type of media must be expected to pay for itself in results, just as each property listed and sold must contribute to your firm's productivity. Electronic media, internet sites, these are constantly evolving, right? The internet is one of the most important types of advertising media available to real estate companies. It is a highly competitive arena for companies looking to exploit creative and unique advertising opportunities. Internet sites have become more functional with links to other websites, such as those that can calculate mortgages and give area schools rating information, meaning that you can find out if the school district is good for your kids. It must be stressed that your company's website should be professionally designed, page 46, to attract prospective buyers and sellers. So in chapter 8, for more information about that, we'll talk about that, okay? It is important to constantly update your website. If no one in your office has the expertise to do so, hire an in-house web experienced person or outsource a web consultant to regularly do this task. Not only is your personal and broker's website an effective advertisement tool, but new technologies are constantly being updated to enhance your presence on the internet. In chapter 8, you're going to find more information regarding email websites, multiple listing service sharing, the listings, as well as other techniques to put your name and your listings on the internet for the most effective use of advertising media. Real estate related websites like realtor.com and zillow.com will be discussed further in chapter 8 as well. Now let's talk about radio and television. High costs can limit the use of radio and television, satellite and cable. And I can tell you right now, it's actually not as expensive as when this initially came out. And there's a lot of ghosts of advertisement past in this book, but we're just going to keep powering through. As they are especially effective, TV and radio are especially effective for the multi-office operations look to promote the company. Radio, especially during driving time, and that wouldn't be radio like per se, it would be another type of device that you would listen to, right? And television ads, including cable and commercials, are coming back, right? Like gangbusters. Reach a much larger audience than other advertisement forms. They're a better outlet for promoting your firm and developing good public relations than for marketing specific properties. The cost may also be justified when you're representing a developer of tracts for homes or subdivisions. There's walk or drive by advertisement, right? Shopping guides. Many supermarkets offer their customers free home buying guides that advertise current real estate listings. Be sure to post your website's address. Yard signs on property. One of the most effective yet relatively inexpensive means of advertising is your firm's own sign, prominently placed on a listed property. It should remain in place until the new home owners move in, with writers attached such as in escrow, sale pending, or sold. This is a concrete proof that you and your firm get results. Writers are those things that say in escrow, sale pending, and sold. Writers on your signs can also include a unique website address of the home for sale. In chapter 8, we're going to be talking more about that. Billboards and other outdoor advertising. Freestanding signs along streets and large billboards on the outside of buildings are eye-catching. They also keep you and your firm in the public eye and may consciously or even subconsciously influence prospects to think of you when they're in need of a real estate professional. Billboards have evolved, no longer just static signs. They now use LED technology and can rotate and change messages. Page 47. Window displays. When the advertising is large and accompanied with pictures of property, the window displays in your office can be particularly effective. The window should not be cluttered. It should be neat and constantly updated. The more walk-by traffic, the more effective the window display. Prominently displayed office signs outside your brokerage bring in walk-by traffic. Bus, car bench, and taxi signs. Transit advertisement can be locally productive in getting brief messages to the general public and keeping your name in the public eye, which is giving your business exposure. Ads placed inside public transportation, like a bus or a taxi, allow a client longer viewing time of an ad. There's nothing like being bored in traffic to get commuters to read anything in sight. Taxis often service out-of-towners who may very well be relocating to the city. Paper media strategies, newspapers, online, and old school paper, right? Newspaper advertisements can be an effective media for residences, for residential sales. They are usually delivered to the residents daily or weekly. Newspaper ads can be subdivided into classified and display ads. Classified advertising. What is it? Well, classified advertising in print newspaper or online newspaper is particularly common in the for rent or for sale sections, usually alphabetically according to area or city. Designed to advertise a specific property, classified ads enjoy high readership and viewership among those looking for housing. Advertisements in print newspaper or online are typically short and charge fees. Other prints like the yellow pages, home buyers guide, brochures, and flyers. Classified ads are mostly designated for resale and rental properties. Display advertisement. These ads are outside the classified section of the newspaper or pop up on your website. Display advertising sells through the use of both words and graphic elements such as pictures, drawings, and maps. Especially if you say something to Google or Siri or Alexa, or you're just talking and it's listening, you'll find that these kind of advertisements will pop up on your computer or other devices. So, for example, of display advertisement, you can look in the book at figure 2.4. They can be in color and much more eye-catching than classified ads. The main purpose of display advertising is to keep your firm's name before the public and to attract sellers to list with the company. These pricier ads may be placed in the classified section to stand out against small ads, or they may be featured in a highly attractive glossy magazine type. All right, page 48 is just showing an example, and we're jumping over to page 49. A glossy advertisement insert in a weekend newspaper is where you might find some of these things. So in Los Angeles Times, one of the several inserts is called View and is divided into properties by area, so readers can narrow their search to a specific zip code, county, or even region. Often insert display ads are prestige properties out of the price range of the average buyer, but the name of the brokerage, as well as the particular agent, may become familiar to prospective buyers who they when they go to look for a home in their price range. Magazines. Although more costly than many of the other options, trade and general magazines are an important form of print advertising medium for any brokerage. A well-placed ad in an upscale local magazine is expensive, but may draw in high net worth clients who can afford more expensive homes. Telephone and city directories. Your company's name in the telephone directory and the yellow pages is a must to facilitate maximum and convenient exposure. Yellowpages.com may be a relatively expensive type of advertising, but more than cost effective. Now, that's page 49, and you can take that one with a grain of salt because I don't agree, but if it's in the book, we got to read it. While it costs you money to advertise large ads in a hard copy yellow page directory that isn't even around anymore, and that's me adding my 2 cents to it, it's delivered free to virtually every home, or it used to be. There are online yellow pages available to advertise in as well, which is pretty much where we are in 2025. So what about direct mail? We've already talked about it once, but let's swing back pie. Once you consistently contact a group of people each month over and over again, your name will become more and more familiar. In real estate, name recognition is priceless. Okay, this form of advertising includes such items as postcards, letters, pamphlets, booklets, brochures, circulars, leaflets, and folders. The cost fluctuates depending on the quality of the products, the frequency with which you update them, and the quantity you choose to mail out. Postcards, for example, are less expensive in print and mail than brochures, and people will always read them. No, they won't. They will almost always read them. There are many companies and that print and mail your products using bulk rates. Create a code on the advertisement that will let you know what ad callers are responding to. As with all advertising, keep track of how many responses are guaranteed. Not guaranteed. Let me read that again. I'm sorry, guys. My voice is really starting to go now. As with all advertising, keep track of how many responses were generated, including direct mail. Inquire as to which specific mail out influenced your prospects. Then increase that particular method. Internet software and smartphone apps can make this process easier and more efficient. Club, religious, and institutional newsletters. So brokers can get name recognition by advertising their firms in these publications. The fact that you share some common interests may steer clients in your direction. Page 50. Business cards, letterhead, company postcards, institutional folders. The design should be consistent and have your company logo as well as all your other pertinent company information. So Lions and Associates Inc. incorporates a stylized blue lion's head in its logo. Over the years, this graphic has become highly recognized in the community, assuring customers of the firm's stability and success. That's why. So you have the logo that's consistent over the years. Now there's giveaways. Items printed with your company's logo, such as a calendar, a map, a notepad, a pencil, a pen, yardsticks, mouse pads, flash drives, refrigerator magnets, and the variety of small household items are ways to keep your firm's name before the public. The more useful the specialty item, the longer the prospect will keep it. The more visible the item, the more often it subconsciously reinforces your firm's presence. Think of something they'll see every day, or think of something they'll see every day that they want to see every day. Blind advertisement is prohibited by law. Blind advertisement includes ads where the advertiser does not disclose their name or license status in the advertisement. Real estate brokers and agents must identify legally themselves in all advertisements and include enough information to notify the public of their status in as a real estate professional. Only property owners can engage in blind advertising. Advertising pointers. There are many points to keep in mind when planning and implementing an advertising program. Be consistent. Advertising agencies are in agreement that it takes a long time before advertising makes an impact in the community. Select logo, topography, and slogans with care, as they will be around for a very, very long time. The longer your logo or slogan is in the public eye, the more established and reliable your firm will appear in your community. Keep your logo recognizable and put it in front of the public as often as possible. An advertisement program must be thorough and carefully coordinated. Every detail and step of a sales campaign supported at every point. All efforts should be completely integrated. Base your advertising and sales campaign on market research, buyer reaction surveys, and client feedback, tracking how many calls are generated, measuring advertisement results. Thanks to the internet technology that's out there, you can track how many potential buyers access the website for a particular property. Page 51. Visit every property. Wait a second. Let's go back. Oh, we said these. Okay, we're back on page 51. Sorry about that. Visit every property to be advertised to learn all you can about the listing before writing the ad. Put the material in good order. Write the ad from the buyer's viewpoint, not yours. Use words and phrases that pop and excite, telling the story in as few words as possible. Use language that stirs the imagination and the emotions, but isn't lying. You know what I'm saying? Decide on an audience for your ad. Bear in mind the person or the people who will be reading or viewing it. Use different appeals for different markets. Write to inspire confidence, making the copy just long enough to tell your story. Don't oversell, and please do not exaggerate. Resist the temptation to overstate a home's appeal. A property should be at least as attractive as it is in the ad when the buyer sees it. Yeah, this ain't online dating. You got to make it real. Include benefits. Advertise not what the property is so much as what it will do for the buyer. Relax by the pool is a great header. Furnish salespeople with the full facts about the advertisement campaign so they are not in the dark. Hold on a second. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. I hope I didn't wake anyone up. Furnishing salespeople with the full facts about the advertising campaign so they're not in the dark when the telephones begin ringing. Train your staff to ask the right questions, get names, email addresses, and telephone numbers, encouraging callers to come in and meet you. Remember, the purpose of advertising is to meet the clients and bring them into the office to build a rapport. Make the most of all inquiries and prospect leads. Let me say that again. Make the most of all inquiries and prospect leads brought in by your ads and sales literature. This includes the proper use of the telephone and so on. All right, next, budget property. 5 to 7% of the gross commissions earned monthly or annually is a safe amount to is a safe amount to, how would you say, expend? Oh, they're just talking about charge. Sorry, my eyes are watering, my nose is running. I got to the end. I think we're close to the end of the chapter. We're going to power through. So go back to sleep. But we're talking about budgeting property. Let me read that one more time. 5 to 7% of the gross commission earned monthly or annually is a safe amount to expend for advertising. You must maintain cost records to measure the results of the advertising outlay. That makes sense, right? Don't keep spending it. In deciding which media to use, keep in mind that the objective is not to instantly reach the largest audience, but to reach the greatest number of potential buyers at the most economic costs. Writing effective ads. A time tested method used in writing ads is the AIDA formula, which stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. Page 52. HUD advertising guidelines for acceptable and unacceptable phrases. A Housing and Urban Development 1995 Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity memo was published in order to set forth helpful guidelines that are still applicable today. The following are some of the guidelines regarding acceptable and unacceptable advertisement phrases from that 1995 memo. That was a good year. Race, color, and national origin. There are unacceptable and acceptable advertisements, and I'm actually not going to read those because this is being recorded for the World Wide Web. So there are examples on page 52 regarding race, color, and national origin. There's a couple for religion, sexual orientation, handicap, familial status, and so on. Please jump over to page 52 and read those for yourself. Whatever type of advertisement is used, you, the writer, must effectively, 1, attract the attention of the reader. 2, arouse interest, but not in a weird way. 3, stimulate desire, again, not in a weird way. Like, I'm interested, I want to buy that house. Number 4, compel action. I've got to go see it. Okay. And then budgeting for advertising includes the internet. No one makes money on properties that are not selling. You can't sell a property without some form of advertisement, and all advertising costs money. In a very competitive market, you'll find that salespeople's commission splits are higher, resulting in brokers shifting from some of the burden of advertising costs to their agents. The most successful brokers are the ones best able to appropriately allocate their advertising dollars. You should know where your advertising dollars are best spent. Learn from your success and your mistakes. Put more money on advertising that has proven success to you in the past and rethink the advertising methods that aren't working for you. Advertising in and of itself will not sell a property. It's only a means by which to get your phone to ring, or your phones if you have more than one. It takes a combination of factors and forces to produce a completed sale. How should you budget for advertising? For each dollar of profit, the average real estate business allocates 5 to 7% of their sales promotions. In other words, every dollar of gross commissions income, about 5 to 7 cents, is paid out in all forms of advertising and promotion. As to specific ways in which allocation is made, pick one guideline to determine your advertising budget. If you find a method is not working for you, change. That actually reminds me of a conversation I had earlier this week with a company that I was talking to. And I will talk to businesses about their overhead and how to achieve what they want with the overhead that they have. And one of the things that was shared with me is that there is a marketing budget of $4,000 that they were using through one social media service and has yet to return any business. And they've been using it $4,000 a month for I think we're on year 2. And I said, well, you can give me $4,000 a month, and I'll door to door. I'll talk all day, every day, at least one day out of the week, for that $4,000, because I'll reach more people than that social media website. And it was, they laughed, and then it was like, oh, that's true. And sometimes you have to shake it up and have real conversations like that with people or with businesses that think, oh, maybe we'll strike it rich next time. This isn't gambling, it's marketing. And yet, in some way, digital marketing kind of does feel like a gamble. But you don't just keep putting it, you don't go to Vegas for 2 years and give them $4,000 a month expecting a return. If you've lost it for the last 2 years, you need to get home and make some more money, right? You need to change what you're doing. Don't forget, we're at the top of page 54. Don't forget to budget the website. Let me start over again. The top of page 54. Don't forget to budget for web designers and internet hosting services. Send or email a copy of all advertisements to your seller on a regular basis. The average agent spends between $600 to $3,000 a year in real estate technology. And that's, I would venture to say that's including your phone, but I think I pay more than $3,000 a year on my phone bill. But anyway, keep evaluating advertising effectiveness. If your advertising program is not producing the results you want, you must make some changes. In order to know the effectiveness of the advertising campaign, you must have an evaluation system to determine which ads work and which ads need help. Offices deal with this check and balance in various ways. One popular method is to have the telephone log maintained by the receptionist or the floor person. And we'll talk more about floor person as time progresses, okay? Newspaper and magazine ads usually have a code number, making it easy for a person answering the telephone to know which property is involved. Each call should be tracked, showing its referral source and which agent answered the inquiry. It's important to mention that any inquiry directly resulting from the efforts of another salesperson, such as an email out, should be referred to that particular agent, no matter who answers the phone. You should regularly examine the incoming call log book to determine the impact of any advertising campaigns. Now, we need to talk about CFPB, which is Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. Advertising of real estate credit is under the jurisdiction of the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. The Truth in Lending Act, or TILA, or Regulation Z, a part of the Federal Consumer Credit Protection Act of 1968, requires disclosures of credit costs as a percentage as well as a total finance charges. It is enforced by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. If any financial term is mentioned, and the ad must also mention the annual percentage rate, which is called the APR, and all other financing terms. The APR makes your ability to compare loans more accurate, and you can go and see the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau regulations in the book. Page 55. Now, regulations of the real estate commissioner. As will be covered in chapter 14, the real estate commissioner can adopt regulations that have the same force and intent as the law. What is the law? Regulations concerning advertising, for examples, are covered in the following. You've got Article 9, 2770, electronic communications, advertising, and dissemination of information on the internet. You've got 2770.1, advertising, license designation. The use of the term broker, agent, realtor, loan correspondent, or even the abbreviation of BRO, AGT, or other similar terms or abbreviations is deemed sufficient identification to fulfill the designated requirements. Under 2773, disclosure of license identification number on solicitation materials, first point of contact with consumers, a real estate broker or salesperson, when engaging in acts for which a license is required, shall disclose that they have an 8-digit real estate license identification number. And as an example, mine's 0130444. They need to give that 8-digit real estate license identification number on all solicitation materials intended to be the first point of contact with consumers. If the name of more than one licensee appears on the solicitation, the license identification number of each licensee should be disclosed. The license number of employing brokers or corporate brokers whose names or logos or trademarks appear in the solicitation, along with the names of the license numbers and licensed employees or broker associates, do not need to appear on those materials. Solicitation materials intended to be the first point of contact with consumers and in which a licensee must disclose a license identification number include the following: 1, business cards; 2, stationery; 3, websites owned, controlled, or maintained by the solicitation of real estate licensees. Number 4, promoting and advertising flyers, brochures, emails, and regular emails, leaflets, and any marketing or promotional materials designed to solicit the creation of a professional relationship between a licensee and a consumer, or which is intended to incentivize, induce, or entice a consumer to contact the licensee about any service for which a license is required. The type size of the license identification number shall be no smaller than the smallest size type used in the solicitation material, meaning it can't be any smaller than the smallest font on the advertisement. For the purpose of for the purpose of business and profession codes 10140.6, solicitation materials do not include the following: advertisements in electronic media, including without limitation radio, cinema, and television ads, and the opening section of a streaming video or audio. Print advertising in any newspaper or periodical, for sale signs placed on or around a property intended to alert the public the property is available for lease, purchase, or trade. Sorry, guys, my nose is doing its nose thing again. Now, page 56 is the chapter summary, but we read the chapter. Page 57 is matching vocabulary. You can find the answers on 611. Page 58 is a multiple choice quiz, as well as page 59 with the answers at the bottom. And tomorrow we will be jumping into chapter 3, agency relationship and listing agreement bundle. Thank you so much.